Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Harmony Inspired Health Podcast. I'm Dr. Harmony Robinson Stagg, your podcast host. And today I have something that I really want to share with you guys. And I'm going to have to do it as not as quickly, but kind of as quickly as I can before my kids rush through the door after school. But I really wanted to get this out to you guys because I'm speaking directly to every woman who's ever felt like her body was the problem. If you have been gaslit by diet culture, if you've been told your symptoms are just part of being a woman, or if you've lived your life believing that your worth is measured in kilos, diagnoses, or productivity, this episode is your reminder that your body is not broken. In fact, she's the wisest guide you have, and Ayurveda teaches us exactly how to listen. So let's dive in to the radical, refreshing, empowering reframe that Ayurveda offers around female health, hormones, and healing. Because I've been hearing a lot of negative talk about women's bodies lately, and that's usually coming from women about themselves. And I really want to put an end to that because your body is precious. You are precious and you are beautiful and amazing. And I want you guys to know that. So let's begin by calling out what many of us have internalized, that our abdominal bloating means we're failing at eating clean. Have you ever felt like you're eating all of the right things and you're still getting bloated and you're like, well, what am I doing wrong? My body is broken, or my body is so annoying. I can eat all the things and it still plays up for me. Or what about that the thought weight gain means that we're actually lazy? No, maybe you're just not doing the right things for this time in your life. And maybe you are. Maybe there's some other underlying things going on. Maybe it's inflammation, not weight gain. And you don't understand the difference and see the difference in yourself, because I've had a lot of women come in to see me saying they've gained so much weight over the last few months. And really, when we get down to it and we look at their constitution and what's going on for them, it's actually inflammation. And we drive the inflammation down and all of that quote unquote weight drops off because it was never weight in the first place. It was fluid. And I've also had experiences with women thinking that fatigue means that they're unmotivated. I'm just so unmotivated and lazy because they're exhausted, because maybe their hormones are out of balance. They're going through a transition. It doesn't equate to you're an unmotivated person. It means you are going through a time in your life cycle where you're feeling fatigued. So let's get on top of that. Let's help you out. And then you'll find that spark and that passion and that motivation come to life. And then there's other women who have been taught that painful periods are just normal. It's just part of being a woman, or that midlife means hormonal chaos. But these narratives, they've stolen our trust, and specifically our trust in ourselves and our body and our innate wisdom. And when you don't trust your body, you outsource your power. But Ayurveda says that symptoms aren't shameful. They're sacred messages. Your body is not malfunctioning. She's communicating. You just need to learn her language. In Ayurveda, the female body is a microcosm of nature, intelligent, it's rhythmic and powerful. We don't reduce health to weight or calories or even lab numbers alone. They can sometimes be helpful, but we absolutely need to zoom out and ask, what's your prakriti? What is your constitution? Because like I mentioned before, those ladies that thought they put on heaps and heaps of weight, maybe they've just got a kapha imbalance, or maybe they've got the pitta imbalance with inflammation. You know, we've got to really understand our own individual constitution, how our body works and reacts to our inner environment and our outer environment. We also want to ask, what's your vikriti, which is your current state of imbalance? What season are you in, both in nature and life? We need to ask ourselves, are we digesting well? Not just food, but our emotions. Because if we're not digesting our emotions, you better believe that that can translate into physical manifestations of bloating, of headaches, of tightness in the shoulders and jaw, of all different things, because we're all individuals. So it can present in numerous ways. We also need to ask ourselves, are we honoring our cycle? And when we start to ask ourselves these bigger questions, we realize it's not really about fixing, it's about understanding. And going back to that first question, what is our prakriti? What's our natural constitution? These are the doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. And they give us a map to decode symptoms with compassion and not judgment. And that's what I love about this principle, because we can understand that the imbalance occurs within the doshas and it's not us. There's not something inherently wrong with us. There may just be an imbalance in the environment, whether that be internal or external. So let's look at some examples of where your symptoms are actually messages, not malfunctions. So you could be suffering with bloating, constipation, and high anxiety. Instead of thinking, oh, my gut is never functions right, like I always have poor gut health, I've got IBS, I've got anxiety. Well, we could just look at this as a vata imbalance. There's too much ether and air. There's a lack of grounding and overstimulation. So when we look at it in this light, then maybe if we can reduce some of the external stimulation going on, if we can do some grounding practices, if we can eat some nourishing foods that support our gut, then those symptoms might go away. What if you're experiencing irritability, heavy periods, or like skin breakouts? Well, this could be classic pitta, excess heat, inflammation, pushing beyond our capacity. So maybe we have to start looking at this aspect and asking ourselves, where are we pushing ourselves? What's causing this inflammation? Perhaps you're feeling fatigued. You feel like you have gained weight. You've got brain fog. This could be a kapha imbalance. It could mean that you're feeling a lot of stagnation, maybe overwhelm. And perhaps it could be because you've had a lot of lack of movement in your life at the moment, or a lack of purpose, because it all contributes to a kapha imbalance. Ayurveda doesn't slap a label on it and send you home. It asks, what is the body trying to tell you? And more importantly, how can we bring it back into balance gently, rhythmically, and wisely? We live in a world obsessed with naming every symptom, but sometimes the label itself becomes a limitation. It becomes our identity. And we start saying, I have PCOS, or I'm an anxious person, as if these are permanent states, or as if these are our personality. Ayurveda sees imbalance as dynamic, not fixed. It invites you to explore what's underneath the diagnosis and how to come back to your center. You are not your condition. You are the woman experiencing it. I'm not going to take that away from you, but I'm also not going to take away from you that you are capable of healing. In Ayurveda, healing isn't top down, it's inside out. You don't need to conquer your body. You need to cooperate with her. You learn to eat with the seasons, rest with the moon, honor your cycle phases, practice dinacharya, which is a daily routine to anchor your nervous system. Breathe and move in ways that awaken ojas, which is our vitality, not deplete it. And you realize your cravings, your energy dips, your emotions, they are data, not dysfunction. This is embodied self-love. Ayurveda doesn't treat you like a machine to repair. It treats you like a sacred being to nourish. This is feminine medicine, intuitive, cyclical, wise. And when we start listening to our body's language, when we stop blaming and start partnering, healing becomes not just possible, but inevitable. And when we heal, we lead, we serve, we rise. And that is the alchemy of her. If this episode made your heart sing with relief, if you're ready to leave behind the shame, the hustle, the blame game, and step into a rhythm of radical self-trust, then I invite you into the world of Ayurveda and the Alchemy of Her, my book that has been released. It is all of my life's work poured into those pages. So if you haven't got your copy yet, please get your copy. It is in the show notes. And if you want to step into a community of other women like you, then come and have a chat with us at the Ayurveda Alchemist Academy, because there's pathways for everyone who wants to study and embody Ayurveda, whether they want to make it their career or not. You can always find me on Instagram at Harmony Inspired Ayurveda. Shoot me a message and say, can we please jump on a free call? And I will make it happen. So in saying all that, let's make your symptoms sacred again. Okay. Let's bring you back to rhythm, not being rigid in your way. Okay. Let's rewrite the story that your body has been trying to tell you. And this is for you if you are feeling that glimpse of hope, that realization that, yeah, my body isn't broken. I'm not broken. Nothing's wrong with me. I just need to possibly shift a few of the things that I'm doing or saying about myself so that my body shifts its chemistry too. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening and staying to the end. I appreciate each and every one of you listening to this. Namaste.